Hey everybody, it's Matthew. Welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I would spend some time talking about one of my favorite bands that maybe you guys don't know is actually one of my favorites, and that is a little band from the 70s called Styx. S-T-Y-X, like the river in the underworld, of course. Styx has been one of my favorite bands for quite some time. I'd say since I was about 17 or so, I think. Is about when I would have found them and started listening to them a lot. And of course everybody's heard of like Come Sail Away and Renegade because those get played on the radio all the time. But I mean there's other songs though in their catalog that are really great too that I also enjoy. And one of the things that was interesting about the band though is their ability to bring together some of that more classical and operatic kind of style from Dennis DeYoung, and combining that with a heavier rock style from the rest of the guys in the band, which is an interesting amalgamation that makes for some pretty interesting songs and things like that. Having a keyboardist was not uncommon back then in your band, but Dennis, I think, took it to some really cool places, with playing in a lot of different styles and bringing a lot of different ideas into the arranging side of the songs and things like that. And of course they had some really good guitar players in that band, James Young and Tommy Shaw, which James Young, I believe, would have played most of the lead on that, on all their stuff. And he's actually pretty dang good, and I really do like his style. But anyway, let's talk about, some of their songs real quick. I did mention Come Sail Away, which is on the Grand Illusion record, which is from 1977. But speaking of that, though, the title track actually is a pretty cool one, and that's one of my favorite songs of theirs. It's actually a key moment in there with one of the guitar solos that kind of, woke me up to the idea of what the guitar can do. And of course, I mean, I've heard better guitar players before I listened to Styx or anything, but for some reason, their music stuck out more in my mind. Like, there was something about it that just drew me into the instrument more, wanting to understand how, things actually work with the guitar and why it sounded like it sounded and why it sounded good to me. Things like that. Of course, I know I wouldn't start learning until probably 5 years after that, but the point is that was a pretty big song for me in terms of my musical development. And of course, it's got that nice opening with all the different, piano parts and stuff that Dennis is playing on that. But I mean, it's got some of the, key guitar parts that fit in the arrangement with that, And so the opening guitar part, that kind of goes with the piano section, it goes like this, Actually, that's probably the wrong chord at the end there. It's this one. Oops. But anyway, I mean, you get the idea with that part. That's a really interesting thing. And it sounds kind of odd, by itself like that. But when you bring it into the keyboard and all that, it really layers in really well, which is one of their strengths of layering parts and arranging them in a really cool way. And of course, the signature guitar part in the song that happens later, which is this. Hopefully I don't butcher it. And then, of course, there's the closing line from the verse that goes into the chorus that's super iconic with the song. And then you have the really interesting first solo, which it's interesting how it has that theatrical kind of quality to start, but then, they kind of break the beat up. It goes to more of a backbeat style, and they play a pretty straight up kind of rock thing, just like in the middle of the song. And I'll play a few lines from that solo that I like, like the opening one. And then there's this other line that's kind of like this, I think. I mean, it's just those kind of funky lines like that. It's a little bit of a tricky one. I don't remember that one 100%. It wasn't one I spent the most time on. If you guys notice a lot of cuts in here, it's because I'm changing the settings on my amp sim so I can do some of that stuff. And then, of course, like, they have this crazy, it's not crazy solo, but it's a really cool one that happens. Anyway, then there's the solo at the end that I thought was really cool that stuck out to me. I'll play a few lines for that, but I'm probably going to butcher this. And there's this ending line here that I think is really cool, and I'll try to play some of that real quick here. And it's something like that there. I don't remember exactly what it was. And then the ending is like a chorus guitar part. There's two at the same time, so it's kind of hard to tell actually what they're playing. But I mean, it's kind of the genius of the band there is the kind of that ability to have that contrast and yet also integrate those contrasting ideas with each other in a really cool arrangement style, And then, of course, it goes from The Grand Illusion to other songs like Miss America, which is practically a metal song. And it's really interesting that level of contrast within the same album is happening. Let me set the amp up for that. It's pretty much set up. Anyway, it's really cool how Miss America opens with this really awesome kind of metal riff here. Okay, I missed a note there. I muted something by accident there, but I mean, you get the idea. That's really cool. And then it goes into this really epic chorus where James Young sings the lead vocal, gets his voice really high. And then there's this coda at the end that's got this really crazy arpeggio that is played really fast that is super difficult, and I'm not going to try to do it right now because I need a little more practice with that because I just had the idea for this video like a week ago, and I've tried to learn parts for 4 different songs, so it's a lot. And it's got a really cool solo. Just even the opening line is really cool sounding. I probably butchered that a little bit. I did practice that for a while, but on-camera execution is always a tougher thing, But, I mean, I think the coolest lick in this, well, I'll play the coolest ones in this. Let's go to this one that's in the middle of the solo here. It goes kind of like that. That's a little bit messy there, but you get the idea of that. Anyway, there's this ending lick here that I think is really cool, too. And that's kind of the idea there. That's a really weird lick there. That's a pretty tricky one that goes from that quick hammer on to this weird timing, and then the quick lick there back to this slower timing, which I think is a really cool thing. And of course, Styx stuff with their straight up rock. Everybody knows Renegade, don't they? And then there's that. And then the next lick, when the verse kicks in. Well, it does open with that main lick, but that's the chorus riff, Then there's that lick there. And then the solo, I hadn't spent much time with that one, so there's no licks, but, it's in this key here, which is, what is that guy again? That is going to be, it's in a G minor, I believe. Yeah, so, jam that how you want to. you know, G minor, let's go. Have some fun stuff with that. So, I mean, that would be the idea with the solo. It kind of just hangs out like that. And then, I mean, there's a freaky lick here that I do remember that's pretty hard to do. I mean, it's kind of like that. Anyway, it's not super clear what it's doing, but it's got this kind of pattern here, you know. And then there is that somewhere in there, you know. But, I mean, that's a really cool pattern to have there in the solo. But, I mean, this band kind of goes all over the place with styles, and that's why I think they're really cool. And that's why they're one of my favorites, because it's always something interesting happening. There's always a cool arrangement. There's always an interesting guitar part that's hidden down in there somewhere that you can pick out and learn that really, you know, brings the arrangement together. They're not using most of their guitar parts in a way to stand out, except on songs that are mainly written on guitar, but the ones that are really well arranged, you know, they're not crazy parts that you can't figure out or can't play. They just fit right into the arrangement and kind of complete the whole song. And that's kind of, you know, what I like the most about the band is how those are contrasting ideas from an arrangement standpoint between Dennis DeYoung and the guitar players, and yet they're able to mesh it together in a really awesome, unique style. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about the band for a little bit, show a few of those guitar parts that I thought were really cool and were my favorite ones. There's a good reason for me talking about them right now that you'll find out in the next video after this one. But anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed that look at Styx. They're one of my favorite bands. Leave a comment down below, of course. Like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff. Click the bell so you know when a new video is going to be out. And with that, I will see you guys next time in another video. Have a good one.